Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/Today I effed up. I like this subreddit. It makes me laugh. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Okay, first post of the day, shared by My Many Masks. Today I effed up by not knowing what a durian fruit is and nearly getting my work evacuated. So, I work at a library and one of the programs I run is my D&D program for kids. I have a really awesome group that comes in consistently and we are nearing the end of an almost 2-year campaign. Sometimes my players will bring snacks, think Twinkies or fruit snacks and the like. One of my players hands me a silver package and tells me it's a durian fruit pastry. In response, I say, "Oh, thanks so much. What's a durian fruit?" At that moment, I've already torn into the package and I am hit with a wave of the most sulfuric, horrid smell. Think of rotten eggs and gas. It immediately fills the room. My player begins to tell me that it's a fruit with a really pungent smell and it is a delicacy in Asian countries. This kid is like 10, by the way. Loves fun facts. He's a great kid, but I think he underestimated how bad this would smell. I politely thanked him for the food, but inform him that for the sake of not passing out in our meeting room, that I'm going to put it in our break room. I take a moment to leave and proceed to place it in our freezer because I thought that the scent wouldn't carry if it was concealed. I'll start with the good news. The game went great. The scent persisted a bit in our meeting room, but not for long. They survived an encounter with a horrible amalgamation of flesh and bone and are continuing up the tower toward the final boss. Now the bad news. The game ends and I'm saying goodbye to our kids when I see a co-workers carrying coats and jackets out of the break room. I ask her what's going on and she pulls me aside outside of earshot of patrons and says, "There's a heavy gas smell in the break room. We think a pipe has burst." As she says this, my heart plummets into my stomach because I can hear sirens. In utter horror, I turn and see a fire truck round in the corner at our windows. Oh no, no, hold on. I run in the back and there is already someone from our safety office holding a gas meter. Gas sensor? Something to look for gas. Anyway, he is talking to my manager who is relatively new and looks like he's about to have a panic attack. I rush past him, whip open the fridge, pick up the pastry and say, "Is this what you're smelling?" as I hold the cracker-like pastry thing outstretched. They don't get a half a sniff in before going, "What the hell is that?" I don't even reply because now my worst fear is confirmed and instead I rush through the library, ask S to smell it one more time, just to be sure. She does, and then looks at me. "Are you serious, OP?" Before doubling over laughing. I mean, phew, at least she's laughing. I ran out of the door and placed the devil pastry in our outside trash can and came back inside where 2 firemen had already arrived. Full gear and everything. One of them had a freaking axe. I embarrassingly explained to them the situation and thankfully we all have a bit of a laugh over it while I proceed to turn a shade of red that sunsets wish they could be. They actually made me feel pretty good about the whole thing. One of them even said that this isn't the first time they've had to be called out for a durian fruit. That is random, very random. I guess this happens more than usual. TLDR, a patron bought me a durian fruit pastry and it smelled so much like gas that the fire department was called. We nearly evacuated the building. Honestly though, the way people are like, "Oh yeah, it absolutely stinks." I've heard people compare it to like the smell of like puke, basically, which, ew. But, however, whenever I've watched people eat it, it looks like it would taste like, I don't know, it looks like it's got a very satisfying, like, custardy, squishy texture, and I really want to try it because that looks so nice. I would just, I don't know, hold my breath or something so I didn't smell it. So, down in the comments, Saturp says, "Putting it in the freezer was the best thing to do. Frozen durian doesn't project the aroma like fresh. I mean, it apparently still projected enough for the fire service to be called." So then the OP replies to that saying, but it still smelled through the freezer. My boss told me afterwards that they were thinking about interrupting the session and evacuating, but the gas sensor wasn't picking up anything. By that point though, he'd already called 911, laughing my fucking arse off. And then Patio Garden says, put it in the freezer wrapped in plastic, maybe 2 layers of plastic. Once you're done eating it, throw away or wash everything that has touched it, and make sure to take the trash to an outside dumpster. Don't leave the trash inside. Source, I love frozen durian. Next post, posted by We Agreed to Disagree. Today I effed up allowing my coworker to set me up. Well, there was your first mistake, mixing business with pleasure. I allowed one of my coworkers to set me up with her friend. The picture she showed me of her friend made me think the following. 1. Attractive, check. 2. Loves dogs, check. 3. Gamer, check. 4. Employed, check. 5. Works out, check. The friend ticked enough boxes for me. However, after meeting her in person, I became aware of the following. 1. She's had several cosmetic surgeries from top to bottom, but she was talking about saving money for at least several follow-up surgeries to fix this and that, including breast enlargement. She said that she was low-key hoping I was a gentleman who was willing to pay for our date because she recently spent I don't know how much I beg your finest pardon, on bleaching her bumhole. Excuse me? I did my best not to judge, but damn, I never expected to hear the word butthole during the first 30 minutes of meeting someone. Imagine, right, just offering that information up to someone that you're meeting for the first time. I cannot, oh my god. 2. She believed her dog was the reincarnation of her dead cat because her dog apparently meows in his sleep the way her cat used to meow. Oh, I mean, that's kind of sweet. Maybe she just really misses the cat. 3. She lost all interest in gaming when she caught her boyfriend masturbated while playing Tomb Raider, which apparently happened more than enough times for her to get the ick and eventually dump his ass. She has bragged about breaking up with him after peeing. God. After peeing all over his PlayStation. Who is this girl? 4. She still lives with her Gooner gamer ex-boyfriend, who's also her business partner. 5. She experiences panic attacks when gyms have too many attractive people, so she gyms at home whenever her Gooner gamer ex-boyfriend is not around because he's a fucking Gooner. I mean, to be fair, that last one, fair enough. It's very intimidating. You know, when you're in a room of very attractive people, it's like, oh, okay, I feel very scared and I don't know why. TLDR allowed my coworker to set me up with her friend who looked like she might be my type. Turns out she can't pay for food because she spends all her money on cosmetic surgeries. She believes her dog is a cat. She pees on other people's property. She lives with her ex who gives her the ick, and hot people in the gym freaks her the out. So yeah, needless to say, no second date for us. Again, I don't actually see a problem with the last one, apart from the fact that she still lives with the gamer boyfriend. But still, the last one's kind of understandable, not gonna lie. So then down in the comments, Coda Caleb says stories not even AI could make up. I mean, yeah, it's not creative enough. And then Salute Major Echidna says AI will never be that creative. Oh, yeah, see, told you. But no, seriously, wow, it's the thing I'm stuck on the most, I think, is the peeing on the ex-boyfriend's PlayStation. And then I just feel sad for her about all the surgeries, to be honest, causing them a lot of insecurities. And you know, that's probably supported by number 5 there about how she feels around a room full of what she sees as attractive people, which is really sad. You know, that is really sad. Wouldn't be sharing the fact that I bleached my butthole though on a first date, not gonna lie to you guys. Next post posted by Malloy Photos. Today I effed up by taking a girl I like to a bar. Today I effed up by bringing my crush to a bar. There is this girl I met, let's call her Jen. I, over the last week, have developed a huge crush on Jen, and I've been trying to spend as much time with her as possible. We have been FaceTiming almost every night and spending a ton of time together. Jen is a social butterfly and enjoys having drinks, so I thought, hey, she hasn't really explored the bars in the area, so I could take her out. Now, we go out to the bar, and mind you, it's a 45-minute drive to the bars from where we live. I'm super excited and really enjoying the car ride there. We are talking, listening to music, and having a good time. As we get to the bar, one of Jen's friends is at one of the bars that we wanted to go to, so we decided to meet up with them. Let's call her Holly, and her boyfriend Percy. But Percy? That is an unusual name to go for. I like the name Percy, though, I must say. I do actually quite like it. Weirdly enough, considering it's not really a name that's used in Britain anymore all that much. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I only know one person in my whole entire life who was called Percy, and he is like the sweetest little guy ever. Well, I say little guy, he was the same age as me. I actually lost touch with him ages ago when I had like a really controlling boyfriend. He was someone I knew from like late teens, early 20s, but yeah, really nice guy. Little odd, but really nice. We begin hanging with Holly and Percy and buy a round of drinks. Holly begins matching up Jen with men in the bar, and after about 20 minutes in the first bar, Holly walks up to this guy and pairs off Jen and him, and we will call him Doug. Doug is a really nice guy and ends up hitting it off with Jen. I imagined they would flirt and then Jen's attention would be back on me. After about 3 hours of being out, it becomes apparent that that's not the case. Percy begins trying to pair me off with girls in the bar, and I kind of told him about how I was here with Jen, and I was hoping to make this like a date night, and he leans over to me and says, "Dude, I'm sorry, me and Holly did not read that at all. I mean, to be fair, the OP doesn't seem like they actually told Jen it was a date." Because they've just said then I was hoping to make this like a date night, so was this not a date then? Well, I mean, if you didn't call it, then it's tough, I suppose. So, after him hyping me up about Jen, he and Holly decide to call it a night. I'm Jen's ride home, so I literally third-wheeled with Jen and Doug. After another hour, I let Jen know, hey, I'm going to need to tap out soon and head home. I hadn't drank since the start of the night and was getting really uncomfortable watching her and Doug. She says, "Oh, it's fine, Doug can bring me home." I walked her to my car to get her keys and her charger and said bye to Doug and Jen. I felt ashamed and embarrassed as soon as they walked away from the car. I immediately sobbed for about 15 minutes. After taking some time to breathe and compose myself, I drove the hour home, took a nap, and now I am chuckling about how stupid I was in this situation and how if I had been more transparent about my feelings, I could have dodged this entire situation. Yeah, to be fair, if you'd have just said up front, then yeah, probably. I hope Jen wasn't drunk though, going home with Doug, because it sounds like she didn't know Doug beforehand, and I would hate to think that that could leave her in a tricky situation. So yeah, I hope she was okay going home with Doug, who she really didn't know at all at that point. So we have an update. 2nd of the 2nd, 2025. Me and Jen talked. I told her what I was feeling, and she explained that she had no idea I felt the way I did. For reference, we have known each other for over 10 years. She didn't realise I had caught feelings. She informed me that she was oblivious, and now things make a little more sense. Wait a minute. There is this girl I met, let's call her Jen. Oh, I suppose, yeah, the OP didn't actually stipulate when they met. I was thinking that they said recently met, and I was going to say, hold on, you've known each other for 10 years, but you've recently met. Okay. She informed me that she was oblivious, and now things make a little more sense. She proposed the idea of going on another date, but for real this time, but I had turned it down for the time being and stated that I may not be as ready to date as I thought I was, and should really work on my self-confidence first. After this conversation, we both got a little emotional, but our sadness turned into laughing at ourselves. We hung out for the evening, our friendship is still strong, and I'm putting dating on the back burner until I build a bit more self-confidence. I love to see it. More people should do that. I did show her the Reddit post. We did laugh about the fake names I used for everyone involved. Sorry to anyone named Percy, Holly, or Doug, as Jen has decided those names are ridiculous. Holly's not a ridiculous name. I know quite a few people called Holly, and I also know a Doug, actually. He was a bit of a dick, though. TLDR, I took my crush out to the bars hoping for a date, but her friends didn't realise that and actively set her up with another guy. She ended up hitting it off with him, I awkwardly third-wheeled all night, and she ultimately went home with him instead of me, turning what I hoped was a date into a painfully clear sign that she doesn't see me the same way. Dude, you gotta tell people first for them to have the opportunity to decide if they do. So, down in the comments, Ugly1212 says, did you call it a date when talking to Jen about going to the bars? And then Recording Flashy1686 says, that's kind of the whole hinge point here. If it wasn't framed as a date, everyone else just read it as a casual hangout and acted accordingly. Easy mismatch, painful lesson, but not a moral failure or anything. No, definitely. Just a kick up the butt to communicate better in future. And then Haloverse says, this feels like the most fair take in the thread. Brutal night, but not some villain origin story. Just a classic miscommunication spiral. We've all had at least one. Wow, I should have been clearer, memory, that randomly attacks us at 2 a.m. How did you know? Okay, then last post for the day, posted by inmate number 7. Today I effed up by teaching tens of thousands of young children the worst swear words known to humanity. Pardon? Today was in fact 1997-ish. I was working at one of Canada's largest public broadcasters, the educational network TV Ontario, in what was called the online group. In those days, our role was to find out if this new internet thing would be useful for teaching. As a creative director, that was the best mandate ever. Across huge parts of Canada, millions of children tuned in to TVO Kids every afternoon. The interstitial TVO Kids hosts were, and are, superstars. One of their most popular segments was the Thunder Wheel. A child phones in, the host spins the wheel, they get a trivia category, and the child tries to answer the questions. Fun times had by all. So, let's create an online version, right? Because our goal was to create educational games, we developed a fully animated cartoon version that pulled topics and questions from a database. To make it fun for kids, we decided to add a leaderboard where any kid with a top score could see their name until someone else got a better score, just like at the arcade. But the leaderboard presented a risk. Kids would find creative ways to put swear words instead of their names for all to see. Of course. As a society, we don't change, do we? Fun side note, I would have been about 6 when all this was going on. As a publicly funded educational organisation, we couldn't have that, but this was 30 years before artificial intelligence. So what could we do? A bunch of us young people spent an entire day brainstorming every possible bad word we could think of, and then every potential variation of spelling for each. And then we took it to the pub, had several drinks, and made it much worse. Guys, we were thorough. We had the worst naughty words you can think of in there. The worst. That list would have made Al Swearingen repent? No idea if I said that right. It was over 500 words long. Did I tell you? We were on a tight deadline. The game involved a spinning cartoon wheel with trivia categories on each pie section. It was cutting edge for 1997. It used a randomizing algorithm, it pulled trivia categories from a database and superimposed them on an illustration wheel as it spun. It made sure kids didn't get the same questions if they visited multiple times. It was animated in Macromedia Flash, wow. At the end of the game, if your score was high enough, you got to put your name on the leaderboard for all to see. Or, that's how it was supposed to work. On the Saturday morning, when that Thunder Wheel was set to launch, I, as the team lead, proofread the trivia-based questions one last time. Then I completed the final step required before launch. I uploaded 2 databases. Oh no, I know where this is going. I can just tell where this is going. One contained hundreds of educational trivia questions and explanations. The other, a list of the worst words ever uttered in English or French. And then, friends, I rewarded myself by going to brunch. Upon my return, several hours later, I, I eagerly opened my email, expecting congratulatory messages from our team and wondering whether the servers were keeping up with the load. Instead, I had over 1,000 messages from very angry parents, most calling for someone to be fired, and many more were arriving by the minute. Some of them used words they could have learned in the second database. I no longer remembered how it was even possible, but I had somehow reversed the databases. For several hours, anyone who pressed the spin button on the thunder wheel got an eyeful instead of 6 trivia categories. The wheel was labelled with 6 words no child should ever read, and when they pressed the spin button again, they got 6 new words, and then 6 more, and then 6 more. We had announced this game on TV. It was Saturday morning. You can imagine how often it was played while I ate French toast on a patio. Tens of thousands of children learned some fancy new words by the time I switched the databases back. Thankfully, upon receiving my heartfelt Hanlon's razor explanation, most of the parents and the police, I learned many years later, chose to ascribe the fiasco to my incompetence rather than anyone's malice. We had, in fact, been trying to protect their children from this list, pulled from the depths of a bunch of overworked 20-somethings. TLDR, while launching a kids' educational game in 1997, I accidentally uploaded our profanity filter database instead of the trivia database, briefly transforming a children's quiz wheel into Canada's most effective swear word teaching tool. Oh my goodness. That is unfortunate for sure. Oh my god. So, down in the comments, Tomorrow Writing said it would be amazing if someone who was a kid playing with this thing that day pops on here. Oh my god, yes! And then CGift9740 says, somewhere out there is an adult who just realised where they learned those words. And then the OP says, from your keyboard to the Reddit's God's ears. Imagine that though, if someone commented and was actually like, hey... I saw that when I was like 5. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Okay, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for the day. If you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give me a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Do not forget to leave the offering of a comment for Big Al. Tell me your favourite colour. Let's keep it simple today. It's midnight right now, so I can't actually think of a question. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.